fires.
We're observing a fire weather watch in New Mexico. Find out more on my full weather forecast.
Mexico City is currently facing a severe water crisis. Learn more about it right now.
This is News 3 New Mexico, your local source for news, sports, and first weather.
Good evening and welcome to News 3 New Mexico. I'm Chandra Benz.
And I'm Paige Guard. Thank you so much for watching.
Even with the unexpected precipitation, the Smokehouse Creek wildfire still burns. As of today, 1 million acres have been destroyed, and at least 3 people have died as a result of the fire. The fire is only 5% contained as firefighters from departments all over Texas try to contain the fire. This fire is the largest in Texas since the 1980s. The cause of the ignition is still unknown. The Smokehouse Fire is one of 4 major fires in the Texas Panhandle. There is also the Grapevine Creek Fire, which is at 60% contained, the Magenta Fire, which is 85% contained, and the Windy Deuce Fire, which is 55% contained. With temperatures rising and high wind speeds continuing throughout the weekend, the fires are expected to spread. Today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is expected to travel to the Panhandle for a press release in the afternoon. If you wish to donate, Amarillo National Bank will be opening a disaster relief fund, and we will have more information as it becomes available. So Hannah, with all this talk of the Texas Panhandle fires, what's New Mexico looking like?
Unfortunately, we won't be seeing any precipitation. We'll actually be seeing hot and dry weather continue throughout New Mexico and Texas. As you can see on the satellite, we're seeing some cold weather, snow and rain on the northwest coast, particularly in Northern California, as well as some rain on the east coast. There is a fire weather warning in Debaca, Guadalupe, Quay, Roosevelt, and other counties highlighted in pink throughout New Mexico and Texas, and that's going to be active until Sunday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Because of that, you're going to want to be careful. If you have any outdoor fire or if you have a cigarette, make sure that it is extinguished properly. We're also going to be observing a high wind watch in Colfax, Harding, Mora, and San Miguel counties highlighted in yellow until Sunday at 7 p.m. And we'll be taking a look at the wind speeds and my full weather forecast. Back to you.
Thank you, Hannah. Big news for Eastern New Mexico University. ENW is getting a $2 million gift from the Allsup's Family Charitable Foundation in support of childhood development initiatives, as well as an endowment to benefit the education, healthcare, agriculture, and business programs. It's the largest gift the ENW Foundation has ever received. It will fund a scholarship program for transfer students entering the Teacher Education Program, a Child Development Center internship program, and a Farm-to-Table initiative. The internship program will establish a new pre-residency program that embeds education students into early childhood education classes.
A local pedestrian was declared deceased after being struck by a moving vehicle, according to a press release from the Curry County Sheriff's Office. Deputies responded to a 911 call Wednesday evening outside the 200 block of Curry 10 Road. Upon arrival, county sheriffs as well as fire and rescue personnel determined that 23-year-old Brandon Galvin died as a result of his injuries, being pronounced dead at the scene. Galvin had been out on Curry Road running east as part of a regular workout routine before being hit by a 2004 Chevy Tahoe operated by Caleb Gutzler, who called 911 and remained on the scene until the arrival of first responders. The Curry County Sheriff's Office is still investigating the cause of the crash. The Lee County Board of Commissions has passed a resolution opposing the establishment of a national monument in Luna County, New Mexico. A private special interest group put forward a proposal to establish the Membres Peak National Monument, which would encompass approximately 245,000 acres of federal lands in the Florida Cooks Peak, Good Site, and Tres Hermanas Mountains in Luna County. The designation of this area as a landmark comes from President Biden's 30 by 30 program, which was recently renamed America the Beautiful. This program is intended to preserve 30% of the United States land in its natural state. However, Lee County states that it seems to be an attempt at a federal land grab driven by political motivation, outside interests, and the acquisition of personal gain. The Board of Lee County fully supports Luna County in their opposition to the Membres Peak National Monument and any monetization of America's natural assets. New Mexico is trying to join other states in changing their school bus fleets from gas and diesel to electric.
Public News Service reporter Ross Brown has more for us on the Estates Initiative.
Studies show the health of New Mexico kids who ride school buses could improve if the buses were electric instead of diesel. and efforts are underway to initiate a change. Research has shown breathing diesel exhaust from school buses can lead to asthma and other respiratory illnesses. This year, the School Bus Modernization Act was introduced at the Roundhouse to provide school districts with the option to swap aging diesel buses with electric. Some argue it's not a good fit for such a rural state, but advocate Charles Goodmacher believes otherwise.
91% of New Mexico school bus routes are 70 miles or shorter in total length out and back, and the bus ranges are up to 120 miles.
New Mexico school buses are replaced with state funds every 12 years. Goodmacher says the Modernization Act would remove disincentives local districts face in buying them while also providing financial aid. The Clean School Bus program is part of the 2021 Bipartisan Inflation Reduction Act, with $5 billion in funding from the Environmental Protection Agency. Although electric school buses currently cost a lot more than diesel options, they're touted for better mileage in addition to health outcomes. Studies show kids riding in diesel buses could inhale 4 to 8 times the particulate matter as those riding in a car in the same vicinity. Data from the World Resources Institute shows more than 20 million children ride the school bus across the U.S., and more than 90% run on diesel fuel. I'm Roz Brown reporting.
Colorado last year allocated $65 million for the purchase of electric school buses. Maryland, Maine, New York, and California are mandating that all their school buses be electric by either 2035 or by 2040.
The Roosevelt County Chamber of Commerce is holding a legislative luncheon on Thursday, March 7th at the Yam Theater located at 219 Main Street. The doors open at 11:45 and the program starts at 12 p.m. Tickets are $15 if purchased in advance, and you can register online at portales.com or call the Chamber at 575-356-8541. March 1st has been proclaimed National Education Association's Read Across America Day in Curry County. The National Education Association Read Across America Day is a national celebration of Dr. Seuss's birthday on March 2nd and promotes reading and adult involvement in our education of our community students. The board calls on all citizens of Curry County to participate and that every child is in a safe space reading together with a caring adult on March 1st, 2024. Curry County has also supported youth reading programs through events like this and programs such as the Imagination Library of Curry County. The Board of Curry County Commission requests its community to engage in programs and activities to make America's children the best readers in the world.
Coming up after the break, Hannah will have her full weather report for you.
But first, here's a look at today's financial markets.
On the northwest coast, particularly in Northern California, Oregon, and even a bit of Idaho, we're also going to be seeing some rain on the east coast pushing up from the Gulf of Mexico through Georgia up into areas like Illinois. Unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing any rain in Texas or New Mexico. As you can see, the skies are completely clear. Even in the eastern portion of New Mexico, no rain, no snow. That's unfortunate because we're observing a fire weather warning in this pink area highlighted, including Curry, DeBaca, Quay, and Roosevelt County until Saturday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll also be observing a high wind watch up in the north, particularly in Colfax, Harding, Mora, and San Miguel counties until Sunday at 7 p.m. Wind speeds are going to be very intense through the weekend. As you can see right now, wind speeds are ranging around 10 miles per hour throughout the entire state of New Mexico. As we go into Saturday morning, wind speeds are going to increase significantly, and in areas like Farmington, we'll be seeing wind speeds reach as high as 50 miles per hour with averages of 20 to 30 throughout most of the state. As far as Sunday morning, we'll be seeing those 50-mile-per-hour winds stretch throughout the state, even into the central south portions, as well as a mixture of 10 to 20-mile-per-hour winds throughout other regions of the state, and that will continue into Sunday evening. As far as weather safety tips, you're going to want to be careful because of the fire weather warning. Like before it's active until 7 p.m. Saturday, you're going to have to expect some hot and dry weather, and because of the wildfires we're observing, you have to make sure that all fires are extinguished. If you have an outdoor fire or if you have a cigarette, make sure that it is fully extinguished. Quay, DeBaca, Roosevelt, Curry, and other counties throughout New Mexico and Texas are going to be affected. Drought conditions remain severe throughout New Mexico. At the beginning of the year, you can see that it was not severe throughout the central portion of the state, but quickly the southern portion of the state reached extreme and even exceptional drought conditions. But as we start to near June and July, when rain becomes more significant in New Mexico, we're going to see some of those drought conditions disappear. Current temperatures are quite nice throughout the state. We're seeing temperatures of 62 in Farmington, 58 in Gallup, 60 in Silver City, 68 in Truth or Consequences. We're seeing 66 in Alamogordo, 56 in Ruidoso, 73 in Roswell, 69 in Portales and Clovis, 72 in Lubbock and Hobbs, and even 70 in Amarillo. Tonight's lows are going to be quite a bit chillier. We're seeing 41 in Farmington, 36 in Gallup, 34 in Santa Fe, the chilliest in the state, 43 in Truth or Consequences, 38 in Silver City, and even 42 in Portales. Temperatures are going to remain quite nice on our 7-day forecast in Portales. We're seeing 75 throughout the weekend and high 60s throughout the rest of the week.
Man, seems like it's going to be quite a windy weekend.
Yes, it really will be. Those wind speeds are going to be intense.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for weather. Thank you so much, Hannah. We'll see you at the desk right after this break.
Welcome back. Today is the start of Women's History Month, and Eastern New Mexico University is hosting events that fall under the theme of beauty and healing in women. The university says, quote, Our Multicultural Affairs Office is known for advocating for inclusion, diversity, and equality. Our office wants to honor the resilience and magnify the voices of women throughout history who created the society we live in today. The events are being shown on screen. The month features many different events, like presentations given by the First Lady of Eastern, Stephanie Johnston, or Dr. Jovana Gomez talking about Frida Kahlo and her life throughout her paintings. A presentation and color throwing festival in celebration of Holi will also take place, and so much more. The events highlight the inclusive nature that Eastern strives to have, such as a presentation about the beauty of being bilingual, or a fashion show about Nigerian culture.
Mexico City, one of Latin America's largest cities, is facing a severe water crisis. The city is struggling to cope after years of low rainfall blamed on climate change, chaotic urban growth, and outdated infrastructure.
Now, authorities have introduced significant restrictions on water pumped from reservoirs. Gustavo Valdez has the details.
Lorena Cruz knows she's breaking the law every time she pulls water from this underground reservoir. She says it is a miracle the city tank has water, and without it, the whole neighborhood would suffer because they've had no running water for over a month. And the city, she says, still wants them to pay for the service. Lorena and her neighbors are not the only ones struggling to find water for their basic needs. All 21 million residents in Mexico City's metropolitan area are experiencing shortages, in part because of a severe drought. Mexico's capital gets its water from two sources: a system of reservoirs known as Cutzamala and underground aquifers.
En este momento hay un promedio de 35-36% de almacenamiento.
Raúl Rodríguez Márquez, director of the Consejo Consultivo del Agua, a civic organization promoting water conservation, says the reservoirs are at historic low levels, well below 40% capacity, and the aquifers are over-extracted. Part of the problem has been drier than normal rain season that typically run from May to August. And experts say the situation can worsen for the city built over a lake bed before the Spaniards arrived 5 centuries ago. Some experts warn the city could run out of water this summer on what it's been called Day Zero. Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador dismissed those claims, calling them an attempt from the opposition to influence the presidential election in June, and said his government is working to get more water to the city.
Está garantizado.
The city's mayor assured residents that the water supply is guaranteed. But frustrated residents have taken to the streets in protest, and many neighborhoods depend on water delivered by trucks, some paid by the government, many paid by local residents.
Hasta 2,000 pesos cada pipa.
Maria Herminia Collins says each truck costs about $200, and it's just enough for 20 days of water for a handful of families, if they use it wisely and recycle, like using water from washing dishes to flush toilets. But the lack of rain is not the only reason experts say Mexico City is suffering from water shortages. A study by Universidad Autónoma de México shows that 40% of the water supply is lost due to leaks, some because of breakage of pipes during the frequent earthquakes, some because the city still relies on pipes over 100 years old.
No ha sido una prioridad.
Rodríguez Márquez says that instead of investing to improve the infrastructure, the money spent on water projects has decreased for many years. We contacted CONAGUA, Mexico's National Water Management Agency, and they declined our request for an interview. They also declined to answer the written questions we submitted about the water supply levels and the state of the infrastructure. For now, the government will continue to ration distribution and continues to call on its citizens to conserve the precious liquid, forcing residents to patiently wait for water to come their way or get what they need wherever they can. Gustavo Valdez, CNN, Atlanta.
Several neighborhoods have been without water for weeks, and these water restrictions have been in place with 4 months still left before the rain should start. March 4th marks International HPV Awareness Day and urges early vaccination and prevention. About 85% of people nationwide will get a human papillomavirus infection in their lifetime, often without even knowing it. According to the New Mexico Department of Health, they recommend that the vaccination of all 11 to 12-year-olds can protect them long before they are ever exposed. According to the Sexually Transmitted Diseases Program Director Janine Waters, you can get HPV from skin-to-skin contact, sexual contact, and make it unique among STDs that most infections have no symptoms and are harmless. The immune system can get rid of the infection after around 2 years, but in the event that it doesn't, it can lead to cancer. Consistent use of condoms can reduce the risk of getting HPV by about 70% if used 100% of the time.
In response to an endorsement on Wednesday, February 28th from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention regarding the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices is urging adults aged 65 and older to receive an additional updated 2023-2024 COVID-19 vaccine dose for the enhanced protection against severe outcomes of the virus. Most COVID deaths and hospitalizations, according to Dr. Miranda Durham, Chief Medical Officer to NMDOH, were adults aged 65 and older. An additional vaccine dose can provide added protection that may have decreased over the time for those at high risk. COVID-19, flu, and RSV vaccines are readily available at healthcare providers and pharmacies throughout the state. If you need assistance scheduling or have questions, contact the NMDOH helpline at 833-796-8773. which is available weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on weekends from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Coming up after the break, Donnie will have his full sports report for you, so stay tuned.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Donnie Couch. Let's get into this week's sports news. The ENW basketball team continued its winning streak with both the men and women's division respectively as they both beat Western New Mexico University on senior night. The men's team scored the second most points in program history with a 125-84 win over Western New Mexico University. The team saw 8 players score double figures, accentuating a dominating performance versus Western New Mexico. During the same time, the women's team had a hard-fought, low-scoring bout versus Western New Mexico team, ending in a 51-46 win. We have more updates for you next week as the Greyhounds travel to face Western New Mexico over the weekend. The ENW softball team faces Cameron Saturday and hopes to get a bounce-back win after 2 losses for the series versus Lubbock Christian. The baseball team is in a very similar predicament as they face Western Texas A&M tonight and over the weekend as they look to get a bounce-back win after losing back-to-back versus St. Edwards. We have more scores and updates for you next week. And now for the NBA. LeBron James is about to cross another milestone as the megastar is now only 9 points away from becoming the first player in NBA history to hit 40,000 points. The man does not seem to slow down regardless of age, so seeing him hit 40,000 points is an astounding achievement. The matchup is even more intriguing, however, as he has a chance to hit that versus the Denver Nuggets this Saturday night. A rematch of the Western Conference Finals. We will see how Mr. James matches up versus Nikola Jokic. Well, that's all the sports I have for you this week. We'll be right back to the desk after this break.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
And good night.